Yo, what's up, guys? You got pokeaim here, and today, the tiers are about to be crazy for Pokemon Sword and Shield. So, yeah, we have some tier shifts going on, and when I mean some, I mean a lot, a hell of a lot. I haven't said that since like 2012, but we have a hell of a lot of tier shifts today, and it's absolutely insane. Before we get into this video, of course, I want to know your guys' thoughts on this stuff as I'm talking about it. Feel free to just write them down or do whatever. This may be a longer video because there's a lot to talk about. Also, if you haven't already subscribed, feel free to subscribe. You know, we're on our way to 300,000, hopefully by the end of the year. We're trying to make that. We just hit 245K, which is amazing, so thank you guys. But let's talk a little bit about these tier shifts, and I'll show you guys all the wild. I mean, you saw the title, you saw the thumbnail, but it gets even more wild. Like, it's insane. And also, if it starts to get hot in here, I am going to turn on my AC. So you'll hear it like in the background, but I don't want to die. Anyway, so let's talk a little bit about this. So the reason that these tier shifts are about to be crazy, which I'm about to show you, is because they decided to implement something new for the DLC. So the DLC came out on, what is it, June 17th, if I'm not mistaken. So they decided to actually make the tiering based on only these 13 days that we've had the DLC. And the reason they did this is because they didn't want to have to go through the whole process of Pokemon dropping every month, and then by the time we actually have stable tiers, a whole new DLC pack comes out in November. So they decided to do this. So the cutoff was from OU to UU, anything below 4.52%. From OU to RU, it'd be below 1/15th of 4.52%, and then OU to NU 1/30th of 4.52, and then OU to PU below 1/60th of 4.52%. So there are some insane tier changes, and let's just get right into them. We'll talk about the rises, and then we'll talk a lot about the drops. But let's get into this real quick. So I guess actually we could talk about the drops first and then talk a little bit about the rising, but I'm going to go from left to right, even though the right is kind of the juicy stuff in my opinion, but we'll talk a little bit about left. So Chansey rose from UUBL to OU. Now, the way they tiered NFEs when they came out with the DLC is that they were not actually tiered. So that's why UU actually decided to quick ban Chansey immediately. Everybody knows what Chansey does. Chansey was always OU, right? Always. Ever since it's been, released with a Violite, it's been OU, Wish Protects, has Teleport now for Momentum. UU did not want to deal with that. Thus, they banned it from UU, which meant that no other tier could use it. And now it moved it to OU. It's a staple on Stall. It's a staple on some Chansey offenses and balances, too. Pelipper moved from UU to OU. Now, Rain got so better. Rain just got so much better in this. And I'm going to try and fly through these because the other ones are the ones that are kind of like making me really excited. But, Rain just got so much better, and to be honest, this could even be a 2-hour video. So, sit back and kick your feet up, whatever. Run on the treadmill, I don't care. So Rain got a lot better because Rain not only got Kingdra, which is a fantastic special abuser for Rain, with the also newly added Hurricane, which is pretty cool, giving it a way of dealing with Amoonguss as well as Tangrowth. A lot easier, not having to drop its special attack stat with Draco Meteor, and also obviously stronger than Ice Beam that it had previously. But also Barraskewda got access to Flip Turn, and that's also another staple on Rain. Basically, with that, it allows you to use your... And I'm standing up and walking around when I'm doing this because I know this is about to be a long video. But it allows you to use your Rain turns a lot better. Basically, the idea is... I'm also going to be talking about usage stats too in this video, so I'm sorry guys, I know I keep interrupting myself, but I'm just excited, the tiers are going to be wild. Look at all that stuff, just look at the stuff that dropped to UU right there. How are you going to tell me the tiers are not wild? That's it. I know a lot of stuff is about to be quick banned or tested by councils, but as of right now they're not, so go ahead and use them right now if you can. They're updated on Showdown too. But Rain got a lot better. Barraskewda got Flip Turn, which is amazing for Rain because it means that let's say you have one turn of Rain left and you have Barraskewda out, and your opponent has, let's just say for argument's sake, a fire type like Talonflame or Incineroar. Let's say Incineroar. Incineroar is like at 40%. Now, instead of knocking out Incineroar and then them going out to their next mon to revenge kill you, or Rain just ended, right? And they have Incineroar in front of you. Instead of knocking out Incineroar with like Liquidation, them going to like maybe a Dragapult to revenge kill you, you can go for Flip Turn, knock out Incineroar, or hit the switch in and then get in Pelipper on that turn and reset the Rain a lot. And it's really good too because Barraskewda obviously lures in a lot of the same Pokemon, Ferrothorn, Toxapex, whatever. So it allows Rain to really just use those turns and get in, Pokemon that can deal with that. So some of the mons you might see on Rain, Magearna, Kingdra, obviously. Heracross is another mon, or Shifu might be another mon that you see on Rain too. Rillaboom moved from RU to OU. Now, with the release of Grassy Surge, as well as Grassy Glide, Rillaboom just really kind of took the tier by storm, in my opinion. Grassy Glide is 91 base power in terrain, so it's stronger than Extreme Speed. It is stronger than First Impression, and it is not even taking into account Stab. So it's crazy. It's a priority move in terrain. It gives Rillaboom a way of, even at +2 with a Life Orb, you do like 90% to Cinderace. That's just an example. That's a resisted Pokemon. So not only that, but it also is a fantastic pair or partner with Hawlucha. So it works really, really, really well with Hawlucha, being able to U-turn out of there and bringing in the Lucha and getting the Grassy Seed. So it's another thing. Lucha doesn't have to run Power Herb, Sky Attack, and miss, because, man, everybody knows I hated that move. I missed that move so much. I feel like everybody's missed that move so much. But, yeah. So Rillaboom ended up moving from RU to OU. It made sense. Not even just being like a new toy syndrome and everybody's like, oh, what is this? I'm going to play with it. But it's just the fact that it's good. Wood Hammer hits incredibly hard. With its natural bulk and like Swords Dance knockoff or Sewer Power or Drain Punch or even high horsepower, it's able to beat like answers like Corviknight and you know, steel types like Magearna and Ferrothorn and Sewer Power through. It's just a fantastic Pokemon, and that priority is so good. Rillaboom on its own can like solo rain teams. Banded Rillaboom, just to give you guys examples. Adamant, which is the one I like, does 85% minimum to Kingdra with Grassy Glide. Like, that's insane. That's basically a kill with Stealth Rock. It does 87% to Gyarados. Or like maybe flip that around. It's one or the other. Oh, it's already getting hot. So we're about to turn on the AC. You guys are gonna hear it for the rest of the video. My bad. I'll put it on low. Oh, that's loud. Oh shoot. Whatever. So Rillaboom not only can be a great momentum on as knockoff as well. It has a good speed tier too, and naturally checking Pokemon like Excadrill, have Hippowdon, which rose up. Having that Grassy Glide, also being able to deal with Pokemon like Urshifu is good. Terrakion, the Slowbro plus Urshifu, which is something that's running around with obviously like the Future Sight plus Teleport. It's such a good thing for Rillaboom, and moved up. Barraskewda moved from RUBL to UU, and so did Indeedee. Indeedee Male, I believe, got banned from RU because of Expanding Force being way too strong for the tier. And now it went up to UU. I'm surprised Barraskewda actually didn't have enough usage in OU. I really thought it would have, just because of rain being everywhere, but I guess it just didn't. Anyway, I do think that I'll kind of have to go over the UU when we go over this, so I just wanted to just mention that. Copperajah moved up from RU to UU. I think Copperajah in past UU was such a good answer to Pokemon like Sylveon, a good check to Noivern. It could really disrupt the defensive cores of that. It's a great stealth rocker. I had Heat Crash as well for Bronzong. Just a fantastic Pokemon in the UU tier. We're just gonna have this right over here so I can, whoops. Just a fantastic Pokemon in the UU tier. Whereas Snorlax was, again, a good check to special attackers like Noivern, being able to basically curse up and beat things like Necrozma potentially as well. Roserade being a nice check to that too. Just in general, it was just good. It's a Cursemon, right? It's a Cursemon. Snorlax does the exact same thing it always does. I've seen Bandit a few times being ran too, though there's New Pursuit, so I don't think it was as good in my opinion. But just being able to curse up and obviously 1v1 things. And then Steelix moved up from RU to UU, and I wonder if this had to do with the fact that Indeedee was being used so much in UU that they wanted another Steel type that could actually deal with it. So for those that have been playing current UU, feel free to let me know. I honestly love Copperajah's Steel type. I use it a lot. Scyther moved from NUBL to UU. Very same thing with Chansey, right? It's an NFE, so it actually got quick ban from NU because Scyther got really good with dual wing beat. And it's a good mon as well in the UU tier too. Knock off a Pokemon like Bronzong and Chandelure. Its dual wing beat is insane, and its natural resistance to like fighting is really good versus or if we're switching into Pokemon like Cobalion, for instance. Though of course Cobalion can also run Stone Edge, which they sometimes did for the Golisopod that was running around. But being able to also naturally deal with like Umbreon, just roosting off damage, you can run heavy duty boots, really was a savior for this mon. Just go. And again, we have NUBL to RU, Indeedee female. I use this thing myself, and I fought it, and it has very little switch-ins in the RU tier. There's very little Pokemon that can take this thing on. And I even had like a Spadef Porygon, and I was 2-hit KO'd. Like, I was 2-hit KO'd with rocks like guaranteed. I know for a fact this is why like Drapion is used even more. And I'm just gonna look at the usage just super quick. But if you look at RU, I'm surprised Drapion isn't up there a little bit higher. But just look at that. But I think Drapion had a lot to do with Indeedee, or Indeedee being at least checked. Drapion is a good check in the RU tier, but it's fantastic, I think, in the RU tier too, because a lot of RU is a lot of... First off, RU just lost Steelix, it just lost Snorlax, it lost Rillaboom, which can get the other terrain up. So RU lost quite a few Pokemon that could actually deal with this, or at least naturally resist Expanding Force. So that's definitely a threat in the RU tier, whether it be Scarf or Specs. And Porygon, I've used it a lot on Trick Room, just as a pivot in general. It getting access to Teleport now is fantastic, absolutely fantastic. And just being a good support Pokemon too. From PUBL, we have Magneton, which it was PUBL because again the NFE thing not fully evolved when it came out, so it moved up to RU. I love Magneton. I think that it doesn't necessarily have to trap anything in the tier. Because if you actually look at the RU tier, there's very few steel types now that Steelix is gone. There are very few steel types besides like Duraludon. I'm just looking through the tier right now. Opposing Magneton and Alolan Sandslash because that thing fell down. So there's very few steel types. So this mon can actually run Analytic. I fought Specs. I fought Violite. Hits incredibly hard, obviously having Volt Switch as well. And then we also see Pincurchin moving up from ZUBL to RU. So I'm assuming they banned this thing because of Rising Voltage being way too popular. They're just really supporting a Trick Room mode as well. Like, I don't know if you remember that video I did with Blunder, but we used this Pokemon. Was it in RU specifically? It was either RU or NU. It might have been NU where we used it. I think it was... If Porygon got banned, it might have been RU. Yeah, it definitely was RU because I remember we blasted up Passimian, and that mon definitely RU. So this mon, really good on Trick Room, especially with all the Pokemon that we have now. Porygon just being able to set Trick Room really, really, really well for the RU tier. Of course, you have the Rune as well, which can do the exact same thing. But even on the flip side, right, with Electric Terrain, you have Alolan Raichu now, plus Pincurchin. So I think that'll make a big difference too. And like Galvantula, Heliolisk, they're all just Pokemon that just abuse it. I just remember that video, man. This mon is a go. So from PUBL to NU, we have Basculin. If you guys didn't know, Basculin did get Flip Turn. It recently was banned from PU, actually. It along with, I mean, those four were literally banned at the same time from PU. Gourgeist because it got Poltergeist, same thing with Golurk. Hitmontop got Triple Axle, which was too much. I recently used Triple Axle, Hitmontop as well, and it was ridiculously good. It has the same base power of V-Create, basically, if you hit all three. Ridiculous, man. I like Oko, Gourgeist coming in and things like that. I recently used it in NU as well as Gourgeist, and Gourgeist having a physical move to abuse is amazing. Golurk now, just having that can be super threatening for Rock Polish sets, can be super threatening for just Bandit sets in general, because that is 110 base power Ghost type attack coming off of a mon that just hits so stupidly hard, you know? It just hits so stupidly hard. So with its base 124 attack, and I actually wonder what... I actually want to see something real quick. Iron Fist. I doubt Poltergeist is boosted by Iron Fist, but let me look it up at Bulbapedia, because I swear I've been using it, but I don't think it's boosted at all. It shouldn't be. It's using, yeah, okay, it definitely shouldn't be. I was about to say if that was, then damn. But yeah, I like Golurk a lot as a rocker, and I think that again the whole thing with Basculin is the fact that very similar to Barraskewda in the OU tier. I mean, Basculin is basically what Barraskewda, or Basculin wishes it was a Barraskewda, but with adaptability, with its high speed tier base 98, which is amazing for this generation, right? Where we have so limited Pokemon, and this mon is actually decently fast, and then base 92 attack is nothing to laugh at, especially with adaptability. It got so much, right? So you use like Liquidation, it has access to Superpower too, so it can break through Pokemon like Pharaoh Seed and stuff like that. And then obviously Flip Turn is just big because you go out to your counter and he just Flip Turns on out of there as you bring it in, bringing in something else. So that's so cool for Basculin. I'm glad it's like in a tier where I know NU is nothing, right? I don't want to say NU is nothing, but NU is not like you know, when you think of tiers, you're not thinking, oh my gosh, I'm glad that mon's an NU. But I think it's so fun for the NU tier. And Gourgeist, again, I've used Banded myself. Fantastic. Phenomenal. It has Power Whip now, too. It got, like, buffs and Power Whip this generation. It has Priority and Shadow Sneak. It has a strong Poltergeist. Him on top can actually break through a lot of the Ghost types in the tier. If you actually just look at the Ghost types, I'll name a few off the top of my head. But Silvally Ghost doesn't like switching into Triple Axle. Of course, Sucker Punch can deal with it after, too. Gourgeist dies if you get all three. Golurk dies if you get all three. Cursula definitely dies. So, and the only one is just the Coffin, right? Clefairy. That's like the only one that could actually really take on this mon. And Himmeltalk can still do toxic stuff for that too. Oh, and another one we got from NFE to NU, Thwacky. Big Thwacky pulled up to the tier. Now, I've actually been seeing Thwacky plus Drifblim, because Thwacky obviously does very similar to Rillaboom. If you guys didn't know, Thwacky actually has good stats. Like it does. Base 85 attack and base 80 speed. Now it does have base 60 special defense, but with an Eviolite, you know, that 70 base defense, that 60 base special defense, and even that 70 base HP is not bad too. So it can U-turn. It basically can do almost the exact same thing that that Rillaboom can do. Right? It gets Swords Dance, it gets Grassy Glide, but it can also just provide that terrain support. And I've seen things like that with Drifblim. I've seen it with Thievul as well. And I'm actually just looking at like some of the mons real quick because I definitely saw. And Thievul, excuse me. Thievul getting Burning Jealousy also is really nice. So I think that's a great addition. It also has like things like Taunt, so a really cool addition for the tier. We have from ZU to PU, my boy Seaking. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know why. It gets Flip Turn too. Shoot, maybe on Rain teams, maybe on Switzerland teams, right? I mean, it gets Swords Dance as well now, but maybe Rain is being used in PU. I know they banned Heat Rock, so maybe Damp Rock was allowed in the PU tier. So let me actually look at the PU tier real quick, and I can see. I mean, PU just like it doesn't have like that many strong Pokemon, so good like water resist, plus with its coverage with things like Mega Horn and stuff, you can actually break through things like Lilligant too, which dropped by the way from OU to PU. So I'm just looking at the new PU tier. So maybe a lot of that has to do with the fact that it can actually like break through also things like Marini too because of Swords Dance. So a Drill Run as well. I don't know. Maybe a lot of that has to do with the fact that obviously the power creep is different down there. And then Silvally Rock moved to the PU tier 2. I know multi-attack is way stronger. I know that like if it uses like special moves like Flamethrower, it can break through Pokemon like Mawile, which is very using you. Let's look at the PU usage stats real quick. Yeah, Mawile is still number 2 as expected. Before it was like Mawile and Ninjask before that mon got banned. So if they got any new toys, feel free to let me know. Again, the people that play PU, I don't usually touch that tier unless I play. I mean, I play a little bit of it, but I don't usually touch it too much unless I play like Road Top 10. And then from NFE to PU, we got Kadabra, Rillaboom, and Togetic. So Rillaboom, did I just call this Reboot Rillaboom? My bad, fam. I think Reboot is way cooler than Rillaboom personally, but you know, it's all preference. Now, if you guys don't know about Reboot, that mon has base 86 attack and base 94 speed. Now, base 94 speed, be like, what is that arbitrary number? That is 315 speed at level 100 with, you know, a max speed nature. And it has almost the same moveset. It doesn't have Core Change, it doesn't have Pyro Ball, but it has a lot of the same moveset as Cinderace, right? And it has Libero as well. So it can high jump kick, it can flare blitz, it can U-turn, it can gunk shot, it can sucker punch, it can bulk up, it can taunt, it can super fang. So I mean, it makes sense that mon will be there. Used it a couple times myself. Really cool. Again, guys, keep in mind a lot of this has to do with 13 days of usage. A lot of these Pokemon would not have moved up. If you look at OU to UU, when we get there, oof, a lot of those mons would not have dropped, and probably a lot of mons would not have moved up without it. Well, moving up is different, but yeah, drop. So. Great Pokemon. Cadabra was always a staple in lower tiers, whether it be PU or even NU. I loved Focus Sash, Magikarp, Cadabra. Obviously, it came back because it was an NFE, so it moved up. Life Orb with Magikarp is very good. It can even do counter stuff as well. It has Encore. 2. So Kadabra is basically a mini Alakazam. It still has base 105 speed and has base 120 special attack. So there's OU Pokemon that are special attackers that don't even match up to that speed or that special attack stat, right? So Kadabra, it's incredibly hard. And then we have Togetic. I know when it came to PU, Togetic was a good fighting type check. I remember Togetic just being a good defogger, a good heal bell support when I used it as well, and being able to check throw, which is definitely a threat, especially when I played, I remember, is really good. And then from Little Cup Uber, young Tangela, or as PK would say, Tangela, moving all the way out. How you gonna be? That's so funny, man. Imagine being a level 5 Pokemon and be considered an Uber. Just imagine, like, just think about this, guys. You got Tyranitar, you got Zacian, you got Primal Groudon, then you got Tangela. All in the same thing. Well, Little Cup, but still. So moved out to PU. Tangela with an Eviolite always has been I've used that in RU last year, so I wouldn't be surprised if Tangela actually moves up as tiers start to stabilize a little bit. Maybe NU, I don't know about RU, because like the tiers are way different than, you know, obviously when we had all the Pokemon. But I've used Tangela there as knockoff sleep powder. It's incredibly bulky because of an Eviolite. It can leech seed as well. It can toxic. I remember using it to beat like things like Virizion. I remember using it to beat Metagross and RU with leech seeding and sleep powdering. It's just so bulky. Even if it gets knocked off, it's just very, very, very bulky with base 115 defense. Like that's a little bait. I remember like Tangela did not evolve at first, right? So much like Scyther being a Gen 1 Pokemon, had crazy stats because it was just a Gen 1 Pokemon. It was its own thing. It didn't evolve. Tangela was the same thing. In fact, Tangela is like only bad stats are its special defense at base 40, and obviously it's base 65 HP. I say that while ignoring its base 55 attack and 60 speed because Tangela's not supposed to be fast and Tangela's not supposed to attack from the physical side, right? It still has base 100 special attack, so it still hits hard. Now, while it doesn't have the best special move pool, it doesn't need it. It doesn't. That's not what Tangela's supposed to do. Tangela's not supposed to be sweeping unless it's like defensively. It also got Grassy Glide and has Swords Dance, so hold up. You're trying to use that in Draft League, that's for ya. But now let's get to the bread and butter of this video. Keep in mind, guys, anything that moved from OU to UU was because it did not have 4.52% usage in these 13 days. So some of these Pokemon probably were really close. Let's talk about a few of them. So I'm going to go through every single one. But from OU to UUBL, this means they were previously banned in UU. Also, just want to note that when we're talking about bans in UU, UU actually had a vote, and Crawdaunt, Gengar, and Obstagoon will be legal in UU. So the funny thing is, they all got banned at the same time. I have a video of it where Crawdaunt, Gengar, and Obstagoon all got banned at the same time in the UU tier, and now they're all allowed. Gyarados was still deemed ban-worthy, and so was Weavile. So Crawdaunt, Gengar, and Obstagoon all will be allowed in UU once again. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Avalugg start to move up a little bit once again, because Avalugg was definitely around in the UU tier when we saw Crawdaunt and Obstagoon. But getting into Gengar, gotta remember new toy syndrome, right? We have your Shifu, which can run something like Sucker Punch. We have we have this ridiculous like rise of Mandibuzz. I'll show you OU tier stats real quick. Is it here? Here it is. Mandibuzz is number 3 in usage, right? Magearna, Assault Vest can break through Gengar too, and so can most variants in Let's Respect. Dragon Ball obviously outspeed. Toxapex can knock off and Scald, things like that. This is actually the entire OU tier, and we'll get into this on its own as well in a bit. I'll talk a little bit about it, but yeah, the fact that Gengar just didn't have it. That was it, man. Mandibuzz being basically everywhere, or Shifu being able to threaten things with things like Sucker Punch as well. Rain being such a big thing as well also hurts Gengar in my opinion, because you know Gengar, what it would thrive on is its speed tier. Cinderace being around can take Shadow Ball, Sludge Bombs, threaten it with Zen Headbutt, Power Ball, Sucker Punch, whatever it really wanted to. Alakazam just came back too, which is something that could threaten it. Bisharp was still used. It not being able to break through a Powdon and being able to Earthquake it. You have this rise of Como. Well, Como was already good, but Como's being used now too. With like, you see like no item Como at times that can deal with Gar too. I still think Gar is phenomenal. Don't get me wrong. I still think Nasty Plot Gar is stupid good. I do. Personally, I do. Because Nasty Plot, Shadow Ball, Thunderbolt, Sludge Wave kills basically everything in the tier. Everything. It basically kills everything at +2. Maybe Ferrothorn lives. That's about it. And Chansey. But that's like Thunderbolt nukes Toxapex. So that's just like I still think Gar is fantastic. And of course Magearna can live too, because Magearna's dumb if you're running Assault Vest. But Gar also not being able to switch in on like natural typings that it would naturally be able to, like they would be able to switch in. Like Banded Woodhammer knocks out Gar from Rillaboom. And then we just, even though we have this influx of Pokemon that actually get destroyed by Gengar, we also have Urshifu, which makes it really tough to switch into Gengar too. Like, so it's not like I don't think Gengar's bad. I think Gengar will see OU again, especially if we do see like a ban for Urshifu. I'm talking about Single Strike, by the way. I think it will see OU, and I think it will be used, and I think it'll be used in tournaments too. But yeah, from OU to UBL, we also have a Alolan Ninetales. A lot of the things, and this actually has a lot to do with what is it? Well, I'll show you again the usage stats. But man, I have it right here. But Mew being number 29. So Veil obviously isn't too great. And the reason Veil isn't too great is because Urshifu crits through everything. So like having screens doesn't really matter. So that's one thing. Also the fact that Hippowdon is everywhere. And yes, Hippowdon has the type advantage versus Alolan Ninetales. But that doesn't mean Alolan Ninetales do crap. Freeze Dry doesn't even 2 KO. And if it gets up sand, you stop that, right? So it sucks because I do think Veil's still good. And also in terms of offenses, you'll see a lot more Grimmsnarl than that because Grimmsnarl at least can naturally check a few things better than Ninetales can, because Grimmsnarl can actually switch in and still has Pranks to T-Wave and things like that too. But Ninetales just not being able to set a Veil, I mean, it makes sense. Also giving Magearna free setup is just really bad, you know. Cinderace already is good, and it got even better with everything being around. It's even better now. So like, and it being also still able to core change, but also just being able to set up on that, don't like it. And then Primarina, I think that a lot of this has to do with the fact that we got Rillaboom. So Rillaboom being everywhere, you know, your bulky waters that actually cannot do things outside of, like, if you look at OU right now, there's only a few water types that are OU, and I'll read them. Toxapex. What does Toxapex do? Toxapex provides Toxapex support, sponges every hit from everything regenerators, right? Slowbro. Slowbro provides physical wall support, can teleport as well for momentum, can Future Sight, so it means basically if you have your Shifu plus Future Sight, it's really tough to switch in. Pelipper. Pelipper sets up rain for the next Watermon we have, which is Kingdra. So, and the last one we have is Azumarill, which can Belly Drum, or be Choice Band, or be Sap Sipper, which can still... So these are all things that can either also still threaten Rillaboom with things like Hurricane, or Toxic, or Baneful Bunker, or Banded, or Sap Sipper. But Primarina is just not one of those. And also, like, Primarina not being the most defensive water type either. When you want a bulky one, because a lot of the Primarina that was ran before was like Subcom Mine, because they would take advantage of the fact that Como is around, that Toxapex is around, that Rotom Heat. We also got this huge... rise of grass types coming back, right? We had Amoonguss, we had Tangrowth, so we had Rillaboom. So that really just throws out Primarina in my opinion. Now this is where it gets crazy. OU to UU. Aegislash. When Aegislash was announced, right? 2000, what was it, 13 is when we got it, X and Y? Aegislash got banned, right? If you had ever told me that Aegislash would ever be UU, I'd be like, you're crazy. This mod would be banned every single time we use it, right? And now, I don't think this is fair to Aegislash. I don't think this is fair to Skarmory, which is there. I don't think this is fair to Tyranitar because it's only based on 13 days. And obviously, everybody's using this dark type that crits everything, so it doesn't care about King Shield drops or whatever. But I still think, legitimately, Aegislash is amazing. Obviously, right? Now, I think UU is going to have an incredible ban list soon, but not today. So, best believe my team in UU is probably going to be Aegislash, Skarmory, Tyranitar, Tyrak. I'm just putting all these OUs on my team. That's it. But the reason I think Aegislash is actually really good still in the OU tier is because a lot of Mana Buzz have shifted to running more physically defensive sets because of Alolan Marowak, because of their Shifu being around. They also better check Cinderace. There are still some that run Spidef, obviously, but they're starting to run a little bit more Fizz Def so they can take on those hits, and that's specs Aegislash's, you know, it loves that, right? Splash Cannon still 2 KO's Mana Buzz type of thing. Aegislash disrupts Tangrowth, Amoonguss, Slowbro. Aegislash does like 70% to Rotom Heat. So it's still a good Pokemon. It's amazing, and it will rise back up to OU. Best believe it. But I just think because it's based on 13 days, Aegislash probably just barely missed the cutoff. And a lot of people spamming or Shifu, of course, definitely hurts it. I think Rotom Heat getting better in my opinion. I think it gets better because Seismitoad was used a lot less. As you can see right there, Seismitoad fell on the UU, but Seismitoad was used a lot less, so it's just, you know, Rotom Heat gets a lot better, and also we have a whole lot of mons that just Rotom Heat does so well versus. But I still think that Aegislash is phenomenal. I think everybody thinks Aegislash is phenomenal. I think that King Shield, Toxic sets are really good too, with just dual stab as well. Blissey fell from OE to UU. Yeah, you want to use Chansey over Blissey. Yes, you can get knocked off with Chansey, but Chansey's just so much bulkier on both the physical and like on the physical side, right? So it's just, it has stupid amount of bulk. Obviously, and Blissey is usually a mon that usually falls to the UU tier and becomes this fat mon that passes to Regenerator Pokemon, like Alamola and things like that. And I'm sure Piff is going crazy that he has Skarmory plus Blissey in a tier. Skarm Bliss, man. Gen 4, bro. That's crazy. It's just insane. But yeah, like just Blissey, I'm just looking through the tier right now. But just Blissey just being able to deal with like some Noivern, unless it's running Taunt, dealt with, right? You got Celebi, just Toxic and beat it 1v1, even though it has Aura Sphere. I mean, it's a special wall. It does exactly what Blissey does. So I mean, I'm excited. We got Kyurem in the same tier now as Blissey too. Clawitzer moved from OU to UU. Surprised Clawitzer actually had enough usage that it moved from OU to UU and not to RU or NU. That's pretty impressive to me. You go Clawitzer, you definitely go. But I don't think that makes too much of a difference. It gets Terrain Pulse though. It gets Terrain Pulse. I'm just excited to use Aegislash plus Kyurem in that tier. But yeah, Clawitzer fell down. Not a bad special attacker, but definitely not the tier you'll probably see it in. RU, NU, most likely. It's usually NU, but I could see it being RU this generation just because of the power creep difference. Cloyster fell from OU to UU. Now, it's just such a funny Pokemon. But, and I've still lost to it in this generation, which is funny. But Cloyster doesn't really have too much free setup opportunities on we have more bulky waters. We have Volcarono. Everything basically threatens Cloyster, in my opinion, right? Unless you're a really passive mon. And I would rather use, again, the new Pokemon than that. I think a lot of that has to do with the new toy syndrome. I still think Kingdra Cloyster is go. I've lost my Magearna to it. Magearna being a big reason why Cloyster falls down as well. Being able not really to break through. I've seen some run Liquidation. Still doesn't beat Magearna. And Magearna being able to run that Iron Defense, you know, Draining Kiss set doesn't care too much. Comfy moved from OU to UU. I'm sure some people use Comfy a little bit as a Urshifu check, as a Dragon Ball check, as a Hydreigon check and things like that. That's pretty cool. In terms of it being UU, I do see it maybe falling down a little bit more. It losing hidden power really sucks for Comfy. It did get stored power, so I can taunt and stored power. So maybe use this with like Magneton to trap Bronzong, and then you Calm Mind, taunt, stored power, Draining Kiss, and you be a pseudo stall breaker. I could see that actually happening, especially as tiers settle. And Magneton being able to trap Skarmory, being able to trap Bronzong, being able to trap Jirachi as well, which fell down there. Pretty cool. Kong counter. Yo, man. Kong is back in UU, and my gosh. Dude, look at Flame Orb Kong, Flame Orb Heracross. Oof, they're going to wreak havoc. They are. But yeah, Kong. We got physically defensive Among Us back. We got Tangrowth back. And a lot of it, again, has to do with the fact that we also got Azu too, which can play her off. But I think, again, a Magearna as well, which just threatens with Flare Cannon. But like I've been saying, I feel like a lot of this has to do with the fact that we got new fighting type toys, right? We got both Urshifus. So I still think Conk is stupid good too. And I think it will remain stupid good, and I think it'll come back. But the influence of the rise of also Hippowdon with Rocky Helmet being even more useful than it was before. I think Clefable actually opting to run more physically defensive, same thing with Togekiss, actually makes a big difference too. Because before the DLC came out, Clefable was running max special defense, that way they could deal with Specs Kyurem and not. Funnily enough, you see Kyurem going down the tier. But now they're running more physically defensive. They can actually eat hits from Conk. They can Moonblast and deal with that. It helps them deal with Urshifu, which is the main reason why they're doing it. They're running Thunder Wave sets, knockoff. So that's interesting. Doesn't like I think the rise of fairy types. Jardigon moved from OU to UU. Jardigon actually had Jardigon and Conkeldurr I still thought would. Well, I think I had a thought that Jardigon would still potentially be OU, because the reason it actually still UU and not like RU or anything is because it's a really good anti-lead Pokemon. because it has Taunt, it has Mold Breaker, it has Stealth Rock, and there's Glare. So that's like, even with Magic Bounce Pokemon, or you don't care, right? You Glare, when you're Mold Breaker, you don't care, you get a Stealth Rock, you have Rough Skin potentially too. I also think Druddigon is a really cool addition too for just any lower tier, because now it has Scale Shot. So you can use Scale Shot to boost your speed, giving it like a chance of actually sweeping with like Hone Claws. It has Gunk Shot, it has Fire Punch. So that's really, really good coverage, and I'm excited to try out that mod. Jigalagy moved from OU to UU as well. In terms of the UU tier, Jigalagy is, I mean, with everything being down there, man, it's still a crazy wall breaker on the special side. Draco, Focus Blast, Sludge Wave, Thunderbolt, gets flipped turn 2, so I can see some crazy use. UU is going to be flipped on its head, for sure. I'm going to skip over the mons that don't have too much, like these mons you expect to fall down, right? But excited. There's not too much that can take hits in UU besides like Bliss, and even then you don't want to come in on 2 Focus Blasts with Rocks up. Exploud, speaking of like a Specs mon, Exploud moved down as well. I still think this is a good mon too, especially because of its Scrappy ability, just spamming Boom Burst. Doesn't really have switch-ins in the tier. Only Blissey really, like even Spadef Steel types don't like that, and even on top of that, it still has access to Overheat, it still has access to Flamethrower, Fire Blast. So that's a cool little addition. Grimmsnarl went down from OU to UU too. Well, I do think if we look at the stats again, I'm sure Grimmsnarl and them were like somewhere right here on the cutoff, but the fact that again, screens aren't as good. Why can't I find it? There it is. The fact that screens aren't as good right now with a Pokemon that auto crits, with Mana Buzz with Defog being literally number 2 on usage. It's number 2 or 3 in OU. Excuse me. It's number 3. Magearna being able to not care and just set up in front of everything. Now you got a Grimmsnarl. I don't care, bro. Though I do think that dual screens plus Mag is still pretty busted too. But I think the hyper offense that a lot of people have been leaning towards was like Mew leads with like Spike, Stealth Rock, Self-Destruct, or Explosion, or Misty Explosion, whatever it's called. I just used it today too. My bad. I just used it today, but excuse me. 37 minutes is enough. All right, I'll be right back. Okay, back. Oh, I forgot to get water. I just coughed it out. I was like, wait. Oh, I should have got water. Whatever. So Grimmsnarl can still dual screens, but that's basically all Grimmsnarl could do. Honestly, I talked a little bit about this with Jam before we even got DLC and new Pokemon. I always thought that Grimmsnarl and Hatterene would fall out of OU eventually. Grimmsnarl only being able to dual screen, and that's about it. Like it's not good at setup sets, especially not the way OU is. OU just hits a little bit too hard for this Mon. It's really good in draft though, and I'm excited to try it maybe one more time if I draft it again. But yeah, I do think that dual screens just wasn't as good right now. That's just it. That's honestly it. It's still good, but I don't think it's as good. It just obviously wasn't used enough. Then we have Hatterene. We have Hatterene, which moved down from OU to UU. This is interesting, but being a fairy type that can't actually check Urshifu is pretty big for a Pokemon. Also, it hated the introduction of Magearna. It hated the introduction of Alolan Marowak. It doesn't take hits from Rillaboom well. So, it can't even like check Amoonguss right because you'll just Sludge Bomb it, right? And not to mention you have other Steel types in the tier. Excadrill's still high in usage. Corviknight ain't that high in usage, but still being used. And then like even like Toxapex, like you don't beat it unless you have boost. So on Trick Room as well, if I'm using Trick Roomers, I rather use, in terms of offensive like fairies, I rather even use Azu on my Trick Room team, to be honest. But yeah, Hatterene moved down to UU. I think it's going to be a good presence in the UU tier. I have no idea how they're going to handle bans, guys. I'm going to be completely honest. I have zero idea how they're going to handle bans. There's way too many Pokemon. And that's why I'm so excited for these tiers to be wild. Heracross moved from OU to UU. Heracross back in UU where it usually is, man. Heracross is a fantastic Pokemon. Not only did it get spikes this generation, but obviously it's had that buff with Burn for a little while now, where what I mean by that is it doesn't care, because Burn only does 6%, right? It doesn't do 12. So Flame Orb is phenomenal on these Pokemon. Guts, it's a stupid good wall breaker, man. It's going to be amazing. It has a great speed tier over Chandelure, which is really nice. Which is a really good speed tier to hit. Also over Gardevoir, though a lot of them are Scarf. It naturally resists bug type attacks, which is good versus Galizabot, because, I mean, Galizabot can do a lot, but you can still facade everything. And, you know, being a Pokemon, being a bug type that doesn't care about fire types like Incineroar, so good. So good. Like, so I cannot wait to see A lot of this video is going to be, I cannot wait to see, but I'm just giving you guys my thoughts. I'm surprised, though, Heracross moved down from OU to UU. I thought Heracross was almost a staple on some rain builds. I thought it was a phenomenal wall breaker in the OU tier. And I guess a lot of it, same thing to Conk, right? Why use Heracross, why use Conkeldurr when I could use Urshifu? And Urshifu can just, like, you know, mess up everything and has priority. So, I guess, I don't know. I think a lot of it also has to do with the fact that Rotom he has just that base speed that's just 1 point faster than Heracross. That's pretty big. But, yeah, and also Volcarona being around in the tier. Jirachi moved from OU to UU. Whew. Not something you'd expect, right, as well. But Volcarona being introduced, I don't even think that makes that big of a difference. I just think, again, it's the Urshifu thing. You are faster than that. Because it's a really good check to Magearna. Like, Jirachi's probably one of the better checks to Magearna that they have out there, because you can body slam Iron Head, beat it 1v1. You naturally resist almost all of its attacks. So I do think Jirachi will move back up. In terms of how it'll be in the UU tier, Subcom Mine is going to be nasty. Just Extra Belt I think is going to be really good. That's another set that I thought was really good in OU. Extra Belt Jirachi. You know, you have Thunderbolt, you have Psychic, you got Iron Head, you have Grass Knot, whatever you had on it. Deal with a lot of fatter cores. But in the UU tier, it's going to be a pretty big presence. I remember using UU Jirachi and flinching down Mega Agrons back in the day. Shout out to Afro Smash. Being a good Scarfer for the tier 2, I think, is really nice, because it's a fast healing Wisher that's faster than Scarf Gardevoir. And, you know, it's going down to a tier where Kyurem just got allowed in, right? So, really nice for Jirachi. Spaduf Rachi can also just deal with that, too. Klefki moved down. Well, similar to, like, Grimmsnarl and just, like, Alolan Ninetales. Dual Screens 8 isn't as good, but Spikes are still pretty good. Being a check if you're physically defensive. Especially defensive, you can check Dragons, Thunder Wave, Prankster. Not being able to hit Urshifu because it's a dark type is pretty big, like with Thunder Wave. Same thing with like Hydreigon. Otherwise, I feel like Klefki would actually like stay. If Klefki could still, if Prankster mods were not nerfed, right? If dark types weren't buffed and it still worked on those, I think Klefki would have stayed OU. But being a fairy type that also can't beat like the number 3 mon in the tier, which is Mandibuzz, because all you can do is Dazzling Gleam. You can't Toxic it because it's Prankster. Terrible for this Pokemon. Absolutely terrible. And then you get Spun On as well from Excadrill. But in UU, woof! That's a tier for Klefki, man. That's a tier. Because the offensive dark types in UU, you got Grimmsnarl, you got Incineroar, but those can get worn down. Krookodile, those can get worn down, right? Obstacle, it can get worn down. So, there's more, but yeah. Krookodile moved from UU, from OU to UU. Now, remember, guys, these Pokemon only came out 13 days ago, but I was a little bit surprised Krookodile actually moved down. Just because I think Scarf Krookodile is very, very good in the metagame. Obviously, Rillaboom does shut it down, but it shuts down like Pokemon naturally, like Cinderace. It shuts down Marowak. It can actually shut down Urshifu because if you use Anger Point and plus a regenerated Pokemon, basically you switch to regenerated Pokemon to Wicked Blow, and then you switch into Scarf Krookodile, you get Wicked Blow, you get +6 attack. I've done it several times in the tier. But Krookodile usually does find itself in the UU tier. Great Stealth Rocker, great Scarfer. Obviously, losing Pursuit is huge for this Pokemon. Losing Pursuit is just so big for Krookodile, not being able to trap all the Ghost types, which are running wild in OU, is big. So, definitely loses a little bit of its credibility for that, but still a great Scarfer, great Stealth Rocker, good speed tier right over Lucario. You can run like a Rocky Helmet, taunt sets. We have Kyurem moved down from OU to UU. It's crazy because literally 14 days ago, this mon was like a top 10, top 15, or top 10 offensive threat, rather. Top 10 offensive threat in the UU tier that you had to run Spadef Clefable for, right? Obviously, Spadef Clefable also helped deal with Dragapult and Hydreigon, but like it's insane to me. But it moved down. I think the rise of, again, Urshifu being faster, Magearna coming back too, Chansey coming back, so we actually have a special wall that can check it, Cinderace being like top 5 in usage, and also I'm surprised that Scizor made it. I'm gonna be honest. I think maybe it was that video that helped it out, but yeah, Kyurem just can't do its thing as much, man. Like I don't know. It's just, even though Mandibuzz is so high in usage, but just being outsped so big too, and you knock out Rillaboom, then they go Halluch and they close combat you. We got both Lycanrocs falling down. Actually, Sandrush Lycanroc and Lycanroc Dust Okay, I should say midday, my bad. Midday Lycanroc and Lycanroc Dusk fell down. I do think Lycanroc Dusk is the best one. I think it actually has a presence in the UU Tier 2 because of its close combat that it now has, because of a Celerock being so strong. It can Crunch, it can Psychic Fang, so it's actually a pretty good breaker. Like, Crunch, close combat, Stone Edge, a Celerock hits everything in the tier, and when it comes to UU. And a Celerock being priority to knock out like faster Pokemon like Noivern is big. Obviously, like I said, Crunch for Bronzong, for Celebi, close combat and a faster speed tier than Cobalion. So I think like this thing might actually have a place in the UU tier now with everything being Tough Claws boosted too. Huge. But the other one, surprised was even ran, I'm gonna be honest. But like Lycanroc Dust can also do anti-lead stuff too with like Endeavor, Taunt, Celerock. I'm really surprised Sandrush Dog was ran enough to that it went to UU and not RU, NU, PU, whatever. Maybe somebody wants to try some. Maybe some people were trying stuff on actual sand with this Pokemon, because I mean it's not bad. It's faster than Excadrill. It has close combat. It has Swords Dance too. It has good move. It's the same thing as the other one, but it's not Tough Claws. But it does have Sandrush, so maybe. Mienshao moved from OU to UU as well. Mienshao, typically a UU Pokemon, very good UU Pokemon, it has close combat now. I'm excited to see how it goes. It doesn't break through Wheezing, but it can knock it off, which is big. Can still U-turn around. Assault Vest can be a good Scarfer. I think it's a really good Scarfer for the tier to check things like Scarf or Mantan. It has a good speed tier over Celebi too with U-turn. Going to be a nice presence. Mimikyu finally fell down to UU. My gosh, I've been waiting for this. Mimikyu that's always just barely hung on to the OU tier. In fact, we saw the last tier shift. It was like, I think it was either the last spot or it was like 2 away from falling down to the UU tier, from falling out the cutoff. So it finally happened. Magearna just not being able to break through Magearna is big. Mimikyu just doesn't have power. They didn't give it Poltergeist. Why? They didn't give Dragapult Poltergeist either, which makes sense. But if they gave it to Mimikyu, I think it'd make a big difference. It would, because it actually would not have to run pathetic Shadow Claw as a physical sweeper. And it's still a good Trick Room mon too. So it's still something you might see in OU occasionally on Trick Room teams, because with Red Card and Disguise, you're basically guaranteed a Trick Room. It's good on offense too. Being slower than Urshifu is pretty big for an offensive fairy type. That's a really big thing. So being slower than that is just big, just by 2 points too. So that's big. Palisand moved, but I'm excited to see how it works on UU offense. I think it'll be good on UU offense. I think it'll be a good check. Being faster than Obstagoon, and you know, having that second life because of your disguise, I think is big. Palisand moved down to UU as well. Now, I haven't actually had the pleasure of using Palisand yet, but I plan on it. I think that with Scorching Sand, it's a lot better. 30% chance to burn my opponent, and I could Toxic them, and I could Stealth Rock, and I have I have probably the best recovery move ever, right? Shore Up is probably the best recovery move better. It's better than Recover. It's better than, well, the main reason it's better than Recover is because Recover doesn't have 32 PP anymore. I'm so happy. Imagine Recover had 32 PP still. It used to. But the reason it's better than Recover is because it's the same exact thing, but it recovers more in Sandstorm. So it's the exact same thing as Recover, but it recovers more in Sandstorm. So really grateful that we have that mon. Yeah, my gosh, if Recover was still 32, imagine stalling out every single Seism Toss. just being able to recover them off. But in terms of will it stay in the tier, with a Cobra Berry, maybe it can check things like maybe it can check things like Heracross. I don't know, man. It can't even check the fighting types because they're all boosted by Guts and everything. But again, maybe with a Cobra Berry it can. It still needs better ability than the Water Compaction, in my opinion. I don't know. I think it's gonna have a tough time. I think it's gonna keep falling. I'm looking through the UU tier list, and I can think of basically every Pokemon beating it. If you actually scroll through the UU tier list, Aegislash, Araquanid, Arcanine can just intimidate and switch. Barraskewda, Blastoise, Blissey, Bronzong. Like Bronzong gets Shadow Bubble, you get Toxic and Protected. I just see the list goes on. It does check Cobalion, and I actually have used it in previous generations to check Cobalion too. So I guess that's a big thing, but I see it falling down. Poliwrath has moved down, and I'm excited for Poliwrath because I think Poliwrath is a really underrated Pokemon. Now, I don't think it's underrated in UU. In fact, I think it's going to keep falling from UU, but it got some great buffs this generation. It got close combat, so it finally has a good fighting stab. It has Drain Punch, so it gets some recovery on sub like Drain Punch, Belly Drum. It got high horsepower. It got Liquidation, so it doesn't have to Waterfall. It got Darkest Lariat as well, so it got some great buffs. previous generations, you'd see Poliwrath in like the lowest tiers doing like Rest, Sleep Talk, Circle Throw crap with Scald as a Spadef wall or physically defensive wall, depending on what your team had. But now, this boy can boom boom. That's my belly drum. Boom 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 boom. You know, it can belly drum up on rain teams. It can just be an offensive Pokemon. It can actually function as a sub. Like sub Focus Punch is also something I used in NU before, but it's something that can function as it can sub. It can sub bulk up if it wanted to, which I think would be really cool. Like sub bulk up, Drain Punch, and then it really depends on the tier. If your tier has Jellicent, you run Darkest Lariat. If not, you can run Liquidation or whatever. You can also run. Yeah, just like things like that. So, some really big buffs. I don't think Poliwrath will stay UU. I think it'll keep falling, but it's going to be nice. Porygon moved from to UU as well. Woo! I was just about to use this mon in OU too. I still will, like, most likely. But that is a nuke. That is a nuke and a half. And the fact that it has such a high speed tier, it has Shadow Ball, it has Tri-Attack, it has Thunderbolt. It lost Hidden Power, but that doesn't really matter when there's no Feral Thorn down here either. Dark Pulse, it has Trick, it has Nasty Ply, it has Recover. This is a nuke. This is a nuke for the tier. Specs is going to be crazy. Wouldn't be surprised if we actually see something like this banned. And probably the reasoning, I have to use Blissey on every team in order to deal with it. Obviously it gets Revenge Code and stuff like that, but even Scarf is scary. Agility plus Life Orb is pretty nasty too. I think Porygon was another Pokemon that was usually BL, if I'm not mistaken. I think we did a Porygon with BL Knights. Let me see. Porygon Z BL Knights. Porygon Z BL Knights. I remember this Pokemon. Yep, we did. Porygon converts the ladder. Wow, what an amazing title Blunder had. So, I mean, that's another mon that's just like, going to be crazy for UU. I wouldn't be surprised if it eventually gets banned. Even with the defensive steel types they have, like Skarmory, which can run Spadef, Klefki, and even Blissey. Like, even Blissey is just a check at worst, because you can just get tricked, or Nasty Plot Recover. It beats you. So, especially with like sub and stuff. This is fun stuff, man. But Scolipede has also fallen down. That's another mon that typically gets banned from the tier because of its speed boosting and its ability to break through a lot. And Poison is actually a really good stat because you can get a nice neutral hit off on Weezing. You get your speed boost, so you're hard to revenge kill. You can also spike and T-spike for the tier. It didn't get close combat, unfortunately. I wish it did. This thing is a beast bug. It should have. But an offensive Swords Dancer still has superpower, obviously. I don't even know what my first team's going to be, guys. Like, I don't know what my first UU... I'm building right after this, too. But I have no idea what my first UU team's going to be. I just want to use a whole bunch of broken stuff, And just, like, run the ladder up, man. Okay, I do know. It's going to be AEGISLASH TYRANITAR and Tyranitar. They're for sure on my team. But, Scolipede, huge offensive threat. Previously banned multiple times from the tier. However, I think part of that might have been with Baton Pass rules. But even when Baton Pass got banned in previous gens, I believe Scolipede was still, let me just look at it right now. Gen 6 UU, where are you? Yeah, Scolipede was UUBL. So, yep, just looking at the Pokemon Showdown tier thing. So, whew, that's going to be a nasty mon. Seismitoad fell off. A lot of this has to do with the fact that Dracovish is no longer there. So, hey, I don't have to use the Seismitoad on every single team. That way Dracovish, or should I say Fishious Wren, can click Fishious Wren, and Fishious Wren. So, Seismitoad, still think it's actually underrated in the OU tier. One set I've been using is Subtoxic, actually, because I wanted something that could ignore Chansey Seismitoss, but also check things like check Pokemon like Rotom Heat still, but also ignore or annoy Mandibuzz. So I've been messing around with moves. I've been using like Subtoxic, Scald, Earth Power. Didn't like it as much, so I've been changing back and forth between Subtoxic, Knockoff, and Earthquake. Knockoff to get rid of Heavy Duty Boots and Utoxic. But obviously Earth Power and an Earthquake is okay versus some Clefs that still run specially defensive, but obviously a lot of them are running physically defensive. So I think Knockoff in general is just a really strong move on that mon. But it moved down, pretty cool considering we have a whole lot of good physical Pokemon down there. So there's a good Stealth Rocker for UU for sure. That checks a lot of the, it checks Arcanine, can check Araquanid, unless they run Giga Drain. Checks Cobalion, can get up rocks. Checks Darmanitan as well, so nice little check for Darmanitan. Just good check for Incineroar. So Krookodile again, like just a lot of physical mons that just are in that tier. So it's a good answer for a good chunk of them. Sharpedo went down to the UU tier. Now, Sharpedo is usually either UU or it's like RUBL type of thing. I love that Sharpedo got flip turn, and I think that's so good for Shark, especially in a tier where it's faster than a lot of the defensive Pokemon. So even when, like, let's say, you know, you have Bronzong out. It's the same thing with Barraskewda, right? You have Bronzong out, I have Sharpedo. You have not even Serena, because Serena doesn't even work in this case. It's really tough. Like, it can just flip turn out of there is basically what I'm trying to say, because for the most part, you want to click Crunch, you want to click Liquidation, maybe Psychic Fangs as well for Weezing would be pretty cool. And then you can flip turn when they bring something like physically defensive Umbreon, because basically things that you can't crunch or like hit with like Psychic Fangs and stuff, you're going to want to get on out of there versus. So I think it's really nice for being able to wear down things, not worn out, but being able to wear down things. And it's going to be a cool little offensive, I think, endgame on. Like, right, I can see myself running Spike's offense plus Sharpedo to kind of clean up. Obviously with heavy duty boots, it makes Spikes and Stealth Rock not as great as they were before, right? Because Noivern's a fantastic defogger, and then you, of course, have the fact that, like, even Incineroar, you don't wear it down unless you knock it off. Still, Skarmory, move down. Now, again, similar to Aegislash, I don't think this was fair because it's 13 days that it's making it happen. Skarmory definitely would have been OU anywhere, especially because it's still being used on stall, and I've seen some stall variants as well. Even with Urshifu being a great stall breaker, I still think stall is extremely powerful in the OU tier personally right now. But Skarm moved down, and my gosh, now the only time I thought that Skarm would ever, the only time I thought that we see something from a Skarm line being UU is if we got a pre-evolution of Skarmory, right? And that pre-evolution would be similar to, even then, like, depending on its HP stat, that pre-evolution could even be better than Skarmory because it get into Violet, right? Or like an evolution of Skarmory, and then that evolution would go down to UU because Skarmory could run a Violet and have over 600 defense, right? Like, that was the type of thing that I ever thought we'd see, like a UU Skarm line. I never thought we'd see one, and I still think it's going to go right back up to OU. As a spiker, it gets iron, it gets body press now, which is going to be pretty prevalent when Heat Rain comes back later on, I think. Whirlwind, that's the thing he has over Corviknight, right? It gets spikes in Whirlwind. So that's a huge thing because Skarm is just a great spiker. They can also run offensive spikes too. Like a sturdy max speed taunt Brave Bird spikes type of thing. But yeah, that's wow. Same thing with Aegislash, man. I would never have thought that Skarmory would end up in the U tier. Actually, it's been a while since it's been a long while, I believe, since Skarm and Bliss have been together. Yeah, I think it's been a long while since Skarm and Bliss have been together. Gen 5. Gen 5 was probably the last time we ever had that because Blissey is Gen 5 OU, if I'm not mistaken. So, huge for the tier. Obviously, you guys already know how good of a physical presence it is. I think the fact that it can run Brave Bird to check Conkeldurr and Heracross is going to be pretty good. Still checks the dogs as well. Can run Iron Defense as well, body press type of thing. Great physical wall. It might run Mix maybe if it wants to check Noivern, but I feel like other steel types can do it better. Just being able to spike and checking Terrakion and stuff that fell down too. Checking Banded Tyranitar too, which fell down. We'll talk about that in a sec too. It's gonna be what a metagame. Oh, so Galarian Slowbro fell down. A little bit surprised about this too, especially because we just learned that Quick Draw is actually 30% chance to activate. Though I think the Regenerator set is a lot better for disrupting cores. Galarian Slowbro has been seeing some tournament usage for World Cup too, so that might end up rising up again, or it could just stay there. But if you do that with a Quick Claw, you have a 44% chance to move first. So 30% is basically Scald Burns, and then with Quick Claw, 44%. That's how it works. For those that don't understand the math behind that, the quick, easy cheat way is 0.7 times 0.8 minus 100, and that gives you the percentage. That's the quick, easy cheat way. There's also the whole, forget the other way. I'm not even going to write it. Like, I could just link the tweet if you guys want that. I just hate saying this certain things. But, like, Slowbro, it doesn't have, it's a really big shame that they try to make this thing a physical attacker on top of that. I still don't think Shell Side Arm is programmed right on Showdown, but it's a shame that they didn't keep its defensive stats because it would have been so much better. It would have been so much better with that 110 defense and 80 special defense. Instead, it has 95 defense and 70 special defense, which makes a big difference. Like, it already has weaknesses, but as a nasty plotter that can't be toxic, doesn't care about what Bronzong does to it, has access to Slack Off, has Quick Draw to even cheese people if you want. I think that can even work on offense. Gives a Trick Room thing, has Regenerator as well, so it can repeatedly come in on Pokemon. And just some good natural resistances, though if you actually look at the tier, a lot of the Pokemon hit it for super effective damage. My gosh. I'm just looking at the tier. A lot of Pokemon hit this thing for super effective damage, but being able to actually check Galarian, Weezing, and things like Roserade, which are very tough mons to switch into, in my opinion. Weezing, like Strange Steam actually, and Will-O-Wisp hits hard unless you're like Incineroar. Even then, like, you know, you're taking the damage. You don't want that. And then obviously Roserade's Sludge Bombs and Leaf Storms. I still think they're going to do a ton of Sludge just because it's 70 base special defense. So I'm excited to see how its offensiveness goes. Slowking also moved down to UU. Slowking in the past has been a great Assault Vest user with like Future Sight and Dragon Tail. So you basically shuffle them around, you get the Future Sight, and you hit something. And it's really good when you pair like Slowking with something, let's say Heracross or Conkeldurr, for instance, because you try and go into your fighting resist, right? So let's say your fighting resist is Noivern. So you try and go into Noivern, or you try to go Goliath Spot in close combat. Because it's Guts boosted, you take like 40-50%, maybe even more, depending, because these mons are really strong. And then you get knocked out by the Future Sight after. So it's really, really good combination. Has Nasty Block instead of Trick Room, so we might see some sort of Trick Room, especially because we got Mimikyu down there too. Jigalgi and Conkeldurr are great Trick Room abusers as well. So we have some nice slow Pokemon that can really just abuse what's going on. If not, Slowking probably move down to RU and be a good Pokemon there. But it's a good check to Starmie too, which we actually got in the generation as well. Starmie sometimes finds its way in UU ever since Greninja was around. It did start to find its way in UU. I believe X and Y UU. It was the first time it ever touched the UU tier. And, you know, if you guys didn't know, Skarmory and... So Gengar was the only Pokemon up until it fell to UU, I believe. Was it this gen or last gen that had only been OU since Gen 1, right? Starmie was the other one, but Starmie fell down to UU in XY. There might have been like a beta that Gengar was around. I don't know, but some things I don't count, like fake metas like that. Not betas, but like certain things. But Starmie definitely fell down to XYUU. Skarmory and Tyranitar were the other two Pokemon since Gen 2 that have never been fallen down. And now the 13 days of usage, I feel like it was just unfair to them, right? It makes sense for the progression of tiers because we don't want to be taking forever. We don't want to take forever, right? To actually get something to happen before the next tier shift, or the next huge one that we're going to get in November, right? But it's sad. It's part of it just like hurts me a little bit. Like, it's like, oh, man, poor Skarmory. Poor stall baby. Like, whatever. Anyway, Analytics Starmie. Love it. Love it. Great offensive fighting type check in the tier. It's faster than basically everything in the tier besides Noivern, which is really, really, really good for an offense. And Talonflame, which is very, very, very good for an offensive Pokemon that can hit hard with Analytic. Okay, Bear Scooter too. Yes, sorry, my bad. My bad. I have to name everything. People will be like, oh, you missed this Pokemon. My bad. I'm only human. Guys, by the way, I want to know our thoughts on this stuff, by the way. This is just me talking based on what I see. I think Starmie is not a good spinner in OU for part of the reason why I dropped. Not a good spinner in OU. There's a million ghost types in the tier that threaten it. It can't even spin on Aegislash. No, it kind of can with like Life or Hydro Pump. It kind of can. It's iffy. Yeah, I know I had a video talking about it, but Aegislash wasn't even ran, right? Yeah, Mana Buzz, Ferrothorn, Toxic Buzz, whatever. And then you have your Shifu, which can Sucker Punch it, or you don't want to switch and you don't even kill it back. Unless you're Life Orb, or unless you're like Specs Hydro Pump. The offensive ghost types, you can't kill Hydreigon unless you're running Dazzling Gleam. It doesn't have a lot going for it, right? In terms of, we already talked about water types before. The water types I mentioned before have so much going for them on top of just being pure water types and their actual resistances. So when we mentioned Primarina, you know, that's similar to Starmie. Starmie does have Flip Turn though, which is pretty cool. It does have Reflect type. Reflect type actually doesn't work in OU like it did in previous generations because Ferrothorn just runs Body Press and Knock Off. So you Reflect type and become their typing and you just get Body Pressed to death. But Scalds and defensive sets, I think it's really still really good. Offensive Starmie, I really like that. I can see some sort of rain because we have Poliwrath, they have Sizentoad, they have Starmie. I can see some sort of offensive rain, and like Starmie with Specs is really cool too. I've actually in a tournament, I beat like a Chansey. I don't know, I was really weak to the stall team, but I worn down a Blissey enough to the point where like Starmie was able to knock it out with like Hydro Pump into Electrum Z move. But of course, we don't have Z moves either, which is a big thing for Starmie. But yeah, we have Talonflame moving down. There was no way Talonflame was going to be OU. They already nerfed Gale-Wings, right, in previous generation. Really sad they nerfed Gale-Wings. And the nerf there was, for those that don't know, It basically, Gale Wings works. It gives priority to flying type attacks, but it doesn't give priority if the Pokemon's not at full HP. It used to give priority all the time, so you'd have like a Talonflame at 1 HP, and you could roost even in front of Choice Scarf Pokemon if you wanted to, especially if you were like bulk up. Talonflame was amazing back then, man. It was a GOAT back then. But yeah, they took that away from it. It fell down. No way it was going to be OU though. Even with Rillaboom and Halucha, my boy Key is telling me that Talonflame is still a sleeper, so I'll have to try it out in the OU tier. But Rotom Heat being so popular, we can once again look at the usage stats. But I'm surprised Rotom Heat's only number 25. I really think it's a top 10 mon personally. In my opinion, I think Rotom Heat's a top 10 mon. Because if you look through all these Pokemon, Rotom Heat has the potential to beat them all. Like the potential to beat them all. Even with like Hydreigon, you discharge it. But yeah. So there was no way Talonflame was going to be OU at all. Toxapex, it breaks through. Even if you're Taunt, who cares? Scald does too much. Did you know some people were trying to tell me, some people were trying to sell me on Dual Wing Beat? That move is only good on Scyther and Scizor when it comes to like OU, right? Okay, there's other Pokemon it's good on, but it's not good on, I'm sure it's like fine on Ninjas. It is not good on Talonflame. You know that +2 Dual Wing Beat from Talonflame does not 2-hit KO physically defensive Toxapex ever, unless you crit it. Amoonguss has more attack. Yeah, Amoonguss has more attack than Talonflame. Base 85 versus Ace 81. Just wanted to let y'all know. Talonflame is very weak. And there's no way. It's not able to break through Rotom Heat. Can't break the Toxapex. Can't do it. Can't do it. Even if Dynamax wasn't on, maybe. There's no Dynamax. No Z moves either. So Talonflame doesn't even have that extra nuke to be able to break that stuff like that. So, however, in UU, fantastic speed tier. Fantastic speed tier. Can taunt, can do some flame body shenanigans too, can Will-O-Wisp. Heavy duty boots makes it even a defensive defogger too, which is pretty cool. I like that about Talonflame. You can use like U-turn, Wisp or whatever, Roost, whatever you want to run. They had to nerf Talonflame. It wasn't like the overheat or Talonflame just really good in VGC. It had to do with VGC, obviously. They don't do it because of singles. Though heavy duty boots, I do believe that when they made it, they had singles in mind. The one Game Freak developer that watches maybe one of us on YouTube had singles in mind for that. So big shout out to you, bro. Please give us back the timer. I'll make another video about that. But dude, I love it. Just go ahead and convince them. Keep making items like that, bro. Keep making items. But Talonflame, good offensive Pokemon. Maybe Band will be good. Because Flare Blitz, U-turn, and I wish they gave it close combat. That would be a huge difference. But Flare Blitz, U-turn, and Brave Bird is like, there's no resist to that. So, yeah, it's strong. Tentacruel moved down to UU, another tier where Tentacruel typically finds itself. Good Rapid Spinner, got a little buff with Rapid Spin, obviously with the speed boost, so that gave Tentacruel that nice little, not really needed buff. Being able to Toxic Spike, checking Shannon Alert, checking Darmanitan, potentially even like checking like Scarf Heracross too. Can be pretty cool. It has a good speed tier over like Obstagoon as well, so you can be a fast offensive spinner. Again, Tentacruel just does like what it always does. It spins and it checks the fire types in the tier. That's literally it. Also, being able to like knock off Incinerate, I think is really good for a T-Spike here. And even threatening like a Defogger like Noivern with something like Sludge Bomb or Ice Beam, I like that a lot. Terrakion has fallen. Woof. Which is funny, because if you look at the top 10 usage, Terrakion has potential to bust all of these Pokemon, right? That's just it. You ain't switching in a banded Terrakion. But Rillaboom is there. You got Ozu at number 11. You got Slowbro back with defensive. You got a Powdon, so if you Stone Edge a Slowbro, you just go with Powdon on it, being so high up. You got Tangrowth as a way of checking. You got physically defensive Amoonguss. You have Miltank. No. Magirna with that Iron Defense set making such a huge impact too. Incinerate's threatening with Stab, High Jump Kick. Pretty big for Terrakion. Now Terrakion gonna be a monster in UU, that's for sure, man. Not only does it have unresisted coverage with fighting and rock, and then it can use Earthquake to deal with Golurk. For those that are gonna say Golurk, it can use Earthquake to deal with that. It's just so good. Bandit set, oof. Cannot wait to click Choice Band, Close Combat, Earthquake for Aegislash. Let me X-Scissor or Mega Horn a Celebi, and then let me Stone Edge. I might put that on my team too. But Terrakion is now back. Just the ride. Like, I think Bandit Terrakion is still really good. And again, I do think that this would also have been a mon that would stay OU if it wouldn't have been for the 13-day usage thing they decided to do. But And it might have even something that picks up eventually. But yeah, Banded Tyranitar going to be a menace in the UU tier for sure. Tyranitar has fallen. Now, again, this Mon had enough usage, even without the promotion that me and Blunder did. This Mon already had enough usage that it wasn't going to fall. But then they said, nah, let's make it 13 days and Big T-Tar unfort. Banded Tyranitar, though, very similar to Terrakion, absolutely no switch-ins. Stone Edge is like a 2 KO on Skarmory. With rocks, it's guaranteed, and sometimes without rocks, it's a roll. So, especially if it runs Rocky Helmet. Banded Tyranitar is going to be a menace. You got Aegislash down there. You got Crunch. Obviously, using Pursuit was one of the biggest downfalls for T-Tar ever. But I still think Banded is good. Specs might even find a place, but just guys, use Banded T-Tar. use Banded in UU, and you probably will get kills every single time. And if you're worried about fairy types, you can use Heavy Slam too. Something you can do versus Clef too. T-Tar, man. I do think that a lot of its drop also had to do with the fact that obviously your Shifu's around, Rillaboom, Cinderace has that jump kick, which is stat. I do think that extra draw, obviously number 7. You have a Powder on number 17, and you have these physically defensive grass types. Hawlucha moving up because of this Pokemon too. Not being able to crunch Magearna, though Earthquake does so much damage, man. Especially Magearna being around, even Rain being so popular. It's tough. It's tough on these streets for my boy, young T-Tar. But he'll be back. That Mon always has tournament usage, and that's all he needs, man. And last but not least, we got Zoroark. Zoroark is a Mon that's like typically banned from RU, so I'm actually excited to see how it does in UU. I think Nasty Plot and Swords Dance variants can work. It has extra sensory for the fighting types. It'd be interesting, like if you design your, like if I have Gengar out and they have like Conkeldurr and I go for Nasty Plot, which is something that Gengar runs too, and they switch, or they go for knockoff and they die, or like I go for extra sensory and they don't Mach Punch me. That's a better example. I go for extra sensory, and because they didn't Mach Punch me, I actually kill them or something. And they didn't Mach Punch me because I was the illusion of Gengar was there. So I think that'd be pretty cool for some mind games on some offense too. Always loved using Swords Dance, Zoroark with other mons that can use Swords Dance, like Virizion before. Terrakion is one now. Nasty Plot's like with Gengar. Oh my gosh, there's so much. I'm making fresh UU count. I got to ladder up with these Pokemon. I really do. This is an insane. I got it, man. I got it. I'm so excited. But yeah, Zoroark can be some mind games. From RU, we have Buffalon, Alolan Executor, Lurantis, Luxray, Politoed, and the Alolan Sandslash. Now, let's look at Politoed first. I don't know if Drizzle is allowed, but if it is, oh my gosh, Rain is going to be kind of nasty in RU. I'm sure they'll do something. Wait, let me see if they actually did some sort of ban already, because I actually made sure. Like, if you look at obviously UU already did the thing, and if you look at PU, they're actually going to be bringing in some Pokemon from their PUBL. But I did not look at RU. Indeed, he was banned. I did not see anything else. RU Snake Draft, RU Lights Out. Oh, the RU Council voted to unban Centiskorch, so Centiskorch is back. Is Politoed just not? Is Drizzle banned? Drizzle has to be banned, right? I feel like that's the only reason why. Let me look at Politoed. Let me give it a moveset real quick just to see what happen, because like, why would you not put this on your list, right? Because like, you could just simply run a Damp Rock one with Scald, Protect, Toxic. Is it because Drizzle was banned? Oh, duh, I'm dumb. No, did they ban Drizzle from the UU ban? Did UU ban Drizzle? UU might have banned Drizzle. I feel like UU banned Drizzle. Drizzle was banned from UU. Okay. There. That's why it doesn't matter. My bad, guys. So that drop doesn't matter at all because UU banned Drizzle, and like basically the lower tiers follow like UU. If OU banned Drizzle, then obviously UU couldn't use either. But because UU banned Drizzle, Politoed can't use Drizzle on it. So that's gonna keep falling. That mon's gonna keep falling. But Buffalon, basically a little mini Tauros. It got close combat now. It got Throat Chop, so it has some nice coverage in that. Can't wait to break with a nice little Buffalon. It's also a nice grass immunity, which is pretty cool, especially because we got a Alolan Executor. Specs is just going to be nasty. It's a good Rotom check as well. Deals with Whimsicott too, so I'm excited to see how that mon goes. Alolan Executor, I mean, they banned Goodra. I don't know if they're going to be banning this mon. This mon can Draco, Leaf Storm, and do things, but then again, so can Duraludon. But Alolan Executor can also set up Trick Room in 3 attack and just, like, there's not very many Pokemon in the tier that if you Trick Room up, you're going to enjoy Flamethrower, Draco Meteor, Leaf Storm. Lawrence has got some buffs. This gen, I believe it got Leaf Blade, which is pretty big for Sewer Power sets because it has Leaf Blade, Knockoff, and Sewer Power with Contrary, and you can just use Synthesis. So that's a mon that can actually be highly annoying. The thing about Ryu is that fire types, like, I mean, we could just look at the usage stats, but this mon, Vaporeon, is probably just going to start running Ice Beam more. Rillaboom is gone, so that doesn't matter. That would mean that Charizard has #1 in usage because Rillaboom is gone. So Laus is #5, right? So, like, fire types are everywhere. You have Scyther, which threatens Executor with, like, Dual Wing Beat and U-Turn. And obviously we have the Pincurchin thing going around, which is why Alolan Raichu is probably top 10. It was already good mon in general, but now I got even better with Rising Voltage. So I don't know if that would be like, Lawrence is probably not that good, but I can still see Trick Room, 3 attacks, Alolan Executor, even Specs. Just, you know, you come in, you get a nuke, you come out. That's it. You come in on a resist, right? You come in on Mudsdale. You come in on Sleep Powder from Vileplume and just drop a Specs Draco and get a kill. Things like that. Luxray move down. I don't think the RU will find its place with Luxray because I don't think that, like, why would I use Guts Luxray when I can use like Banded Beware or like Specs and maybe as a breaker, like Banded even Passimian. I'd rather use that. I just think Luxray is a little bit too slow to be too much of a threat. But again, I could be completely wrong about that, and especially because they have Machamp, right? So like even that, like, why would I use that when I can use Guts Machamp with close combat? It just hits so much harder, right? Base 130 attack versus Luxray's base 120 attack. Like, Luxray doesn't have, it's not bad. It's just, and it got buffs too. Like, you got Psychic Fangs and stuff. But I don't know, man. Like, it's still Facade. I don't know. If I'm using, I feel like I use, maybe base 70 speed is enough in the RU tier though. So let me know your thoughts if you guys play RU. Like, it could definitely disrupt like defensive Pokemon. That's for sure. But yeah, Ponytail doesn't really matter. Sandslash, I think it's another mon that's going to inevitably fall down just because it doesn't deal with a lot of what's super common. Maybe Mystical Fire, though. Knockoff, Dual Wing Beat or Hurt. Flamethrower, cannot break the Vaporeon even if it has Toxic. Vaporeon just heal bells it off. So I think that's something that will move eventually. My girl Miltank moving to NU, tier where Miltank typically moves. I wonder if it got saved from PU because of the one video I did with Miltank the other day, but that's like a legit thing. But in NU, it's a fantastic heal beller for the tier, and like, it's a good physical wall. It can check things like Flapple with Sap Sipper. It can check. I mean, we got some good, strong physical presences. It can check Rapidash, which is pretty cool. With its with Thick Fat. I don't know how much Low Kick does to Miltank. But being a heal beller and with Thick Fat being able to check Ice Cream, like the Ice Cream Cone Vanillix, I think is a really big thing for Miltank in itself, because Ice Cream Cone just doesn't have very many switches in this tier, man. But if you look at the usage stats, we can actually just look at that. But if we look at any usage stats, you're gone, so you don't matter. You have Piloswine at number 3. It's an Ice Cream Cone check. You have Ice Cream Cone. You have a Abomasnow at number 9. Magneton up here too, and Stunfisk out there too. Crazy. Definitely not what I would expect to see in that, but I guess it's like, if you actually look at this tier, there's not very many good rockers. There's not too many great rockers in the NU tier. Besides, like, you know, Sandaconda, obviously Silvally, that's just Silvally. I meant Ferrothorn. I guess Golurk too. If you want to use Dougie, that's cool. But yeah, being a nice little check to that. Checking Abomasnow too. I like that a lot. I love how Wishy-Washy's up there. Wishy-Washy got Flip Turn now, so I think it's sick. So we have Magneton and that making it rise. OU to PU. Whew. So some mods I think are going to be extremely powerful in PU. Tauros, Stoutland, for sure, and I think Lycanroc as well are going to be very powerful. Even Kangaskhan. Like, these are some powerful mods right here. Kangaskhan, Stoutland, Tauros, and Lycanroc. Lycanroc got close combat, so that can hit incredibly hard. They now have a Sticky Web user, which is pretty cool. I'm going to fly through a lot of these. Whisk support from Licky Licky, and it's called Indeedee, but Dedenne or Dedane has Dazzling Gleam now, actually has options. I did not know, but Emolga has Energy Ball. Dunsparce is Dunsparce. Can't really, Maybe because it's PU, it can do things like coil and actually be crazy. I would not be surprised though if these mons either rise up to NU, like some of them, like Stoutland, Tauros, Kangaskhan, like even Lopunny, right? Lopunny got close combat now in U-turn, so it can be a crazy nice little like aggressive banned Pokemon, like literally a choice banned Pokemon, because Lopunny has base 76 attack, which isn't good, but it has high speed, and it can even do stuff with like Trick and Klutz. So yeah, Lilligant as well. If we're looking at PU itself, let's just look at the usage stats. I remember when playing PU, Mawile was up there. Yeah, you have Mawile. Dusknoir was the number 1, which is pretty cool because it has Poltergeist now, so I'm guessing offensive Dusknoir is really good. Thievul, it has Burning Jealousy, so it actually has coverage. Kadabra, which is cool. Thwacky. Another Mon, another Ghost type that got really good coverage now is up here. Mr. Rhyme at number 4. That's pretty cool, man. I'm liking that. So I'm excited, man, because Tauros just brings a whole new thing. Obviously, with it has close combat. It can run Throat Chop as well. Has a bunch of strong moves like that. Has a high speed tier. Stoutland. I don't know if Hippopotas is down there, but like Hippopotas is still considered little combo. Okay, so that's something you could probably run there. Assuming Sand is allowed, you could even run like Sand Spit as well. Oh my gosh, and then we have like some more drops, which are just even more insane, crazy. But yeah, Wigglytuff, not too much of a difference. I do think there's, like I said, Lycanroc, Tauros, Shuckle for Sticky Web teams, Stoutland. I think Executor can be pretty crazy too, which is Psychic and Energy Ball. Golduck on Rain, like Manual Rain. I know PU banned Heat Rock, but I don't know if they banned Manual Rain. Lilligant just being able to Sleep Powder and Quiver. Obviously, it doesn't have coverage to hit most grass types. Like if you look at the PU tier, yeah, I cannot wait to play these tiers. I know I keep saying that, but it doesn't have coverage to really hit grass types, which sucks. Like they really gave it nothing. They got rid of Hidden Power, which is all they needed before, and now it doesn't have. It could Toxic grass type, but still, I'm sure Sub Quiver Dance could find something. And Aromatherapy Quiver Dance could be pretty cool too. Nice Rockers and Sand Slash. Pinscher could be a good offensive threat too. Let me know, guys. For those that play PU, please let me know your thoughts. I want to learn. From UU to RUBL, Barbarical fell down. Okay, UU to RU. Woof! RU got Machamp, Rabombi, that's an RU I know, man. Machamp, Rabombi, Espeon, and Xatu. That is the RU I know from back in the day. Helios too, that is definitely the RU I know. So, being able to Voltage around, you got a strong Guts user in Machamp, Rabombi being strong Sticky Web as well as Specs in RU. RU is like, because like RU this gen and RU last gen, the power keep is just so different, right? Now, a lot of these, like, I think Heliolisk is one of the better ones, especially because of, like, rising voltage. Heliolisk has incredible coverage, right? It has a Surf, Thunderbolt, it has Focus Blast, it has Grass Knot, so it can actually deal with a lot of the tier, just itself naturally, so that's really cool. Espeon, good offensive, maybe Specs can be cool, but I think Indeedee can do it better just because of its ability, but even, like, just a defensive, like, even on install Pokemon or even just a setup mon. Ditto, cool for offense. Checking offense, I like that a lot. Rabombi for Lebs and Specs in general. Machamp are close combat with Guts. Like we just got Machamp. I knew Machamp wasn't like there for RU before. Like, I was like, I didn't remember Machamp before. Like when I was talking about it, like, wait, what the hell is this? But Choice Band, Assault Vest, and obviously Xatu getting teleport and being able to do things like that is nice. From RU to NU, the Ice Cream Cone, which is what I was talking about. Like I was really surprised when I saw NU and Ice Cream Cone wasn't top 10. I was like I took it back. I was like, I don't know if you guys like saw it, but I was like, yeah, Plasma. I was like, oh, okay, the Ice type here, but yeah. So the Ice Cream Cone is going to be a nasty mon for the NU. Thank you. Okay, I was confused. Ice Cream Cone is going to be nasty for NU. I think Delay's going to be nasty too in terms of like Swords Dance and just breaking and Shadow Sneak. Weezing is a good T-Spiker. Decidueye is something that can beat everything. This mon is gone, but Decidueye can beat everything in literal top 10, depending on the right moveset. So that'd be a good offensive mon. And Cramorant keeps going down, but I still think it's a great defogger and being able to do that. From NU to PU, oh my gosh. Bolton, Dreadnought, Hitmonchan, Hatchrim, Drifblim. Drifblim is going to be kind of nice. I like that. Kling Klang. Ninja's moved back down. That's cool. Ninjas had actually moved up. And then, which is why like Mawile was like number 1. That mon's so oppressive though. Ninjas is actually so oppressive in the tier. And it has dual wing beat now too, so it can run heavy duty boost. It doesn't have to run acrobatics. Berserker, some great breakers in Berserker, like some strong mons in Berserker. Dreadnought, rocks, Swiftson, like Rain is gonna be looks really crazy. Hitmonchan is a good spinner now. Oof. My gosh, man. PU is gonna be kind of nasty, man. Bolton. Great speed tier for PU too. And just it hits very, very hard. PU about to be a little bit nasty. I can definitely see a lot of these mons being banned. And Rotom with Nasty Claw and Heavy Duty Boots. I love that. I love that a lot for the squad. And Pheasant with Brave Bird and whatnot. I like how Hatchram went down. And for PU to ZU, Corsola, Dusclops, Farfetch, Gothitelle, Ludicolo. So for Rain, that could be pretty cool. Both Mr. Rhymes, Palpitoad, Pyukumuku, and Shiinotic. Pyukumuku for Stall. Nice ZU Stall. I don't even know what the ZU tier. I can't even. I can see it right here. Cool. It's nice ZU Stall. I like how these mods all have like PU in parentheses. There's not even too many mods here. Bro, there's like 10 mods down here. How do you play this tier? It's just all this and NFEs. Yo. I'm not about to get worked by damn Corvisquire, Charmeleon, Pyukumuku Stall. Alright? I mean, they can do Sticky Web. I don't know too much about that. So I'm going to skip a lot of those stuff, guys. Because for those PU mains and ZU mains, please, leave comments. I love to read. I love to learn. I know I definitely skipped over a lot of stuff. But we had some crazy changes. And the tiers are definitely going to be way different going forward, right? I cannot wait to build, but these are top 10 and everything. As you can see, most of the mons that are top 10 in their tier actually moved to a different tier. I love that Cinderace is number 10 in Ubers. I think that's pretty cool. Obviously, Zacian being number 1 as it should be. Incineroar being number 1 in UU. We'll see how that changes with a bunch of fighting types now in the tier and some good waters as well and rock types. So that might change a little bit. Rillaboom number 1 in RU, but now it's an OU. Scyther number 1 in NU, but it's UU. Dusknoir, I believe, stayed PU. And then, yeah, you have the little cup Pokemon right there. So, yeah, I want to know your guys' thoughts. Let me know your thoughts. Overall, I'm super excited to play with these mons. I think we're going to see a huge amount of bans coming forward. So I'll definitely be making some videos on that. But, of course, if you guys did enjoy and, you know, leave a like, subscribing, all that stuff, getting 300,000 subscribers would be pretty cool. I will see you guys next time. I've been talking for way too long. Goodbye, my friends.